Alrighty. Got everybody, Debbie? We're good?
Yeah.
Check. Okay. Alrighty. So this evening's Community Development Committee meeting, I guess we can start. Good. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Let's see. First item of business would be our solar thing. Yep. Solar project update. Is that from you?
It is,
Yeah, thank you.
yes. Yeah, this is follow up to a presentation we did, I don't know, Kate, some time ago, regarding the installation of a solar array on top of the peaking storage tank. This is through PSE's Community Solar Program. And I have PSE here tonight. Kate, I think I'll go ahead and turn it over to you and let you introduce the rest of the folks who are here with us from PSE, and then you can go ahead with your presentation.
Absolutely. So can you guys hear me okay? All right, fantastic. So thank you so much for having us. I believe that the last time our team spoke to you all was back in December of last year. So some of this will be a review for some folks, some of it might be new. I know I'm a new face, so I'll make sure to introduce myself and then the rest of the team. So starting off, I'm Kate Harchering. I'm a community projects manager here on our Clean Energy Solutions team. And I've been the main point of contact with the city on the community solar project, and I'll also help coordinate the permitting process. So I will then pass it over to Paul.
Hi, everybody. I think I've met the majority of you guys previously, but just as a reminder, Paul Gardner, Product Development Manager on a new products and services team. So I work in collaboration very close with Kate and Wes on the construction and official launch of the community solar projects. Wes?
Yeah, Wesley Williamson. I am the engineer associated with the community solar projects. So my role is to just kind of make sure we're all synced up on any design concerns, both from the city side and our side, and just kind of make sure things keep going together as smoothly as possible. And I'll pass it over to Christine.
You're on mute, Christine.
I have two mute buttons. I apologize for that. Yeah, again, my name is Christine. I'm with Real Estate Major Project supporting Kate's community solar program. And I'm here to guide us through the legal forms and compensation related to the lease or the roof lease with the city of Bonney Lake. Happy to be here. Hello.
Hello.
I'm passing it on to Tyler. You're also on mute, Tyler.
I think this is the first Blue Jeans experience for the most of us at PSE.
Usually teams, I take it, right?
Yes. Yeah, well, if we can't hear Tyler, I will let everyone know that. So Tyler's our clean energy product manager. So he's going to be managing the community solar product and as it's operational. So he'll be able to also answer product related questions and specifics. So should I go ahead and just share my screen?
I got it.
Okay, awesome.
Kate, can you hear me okay?
Yes, do we have Tyler?
Sorry about that.
No worries.
All right, cool. I'm Tyler O'Farrell. I'm the product manager at Puget Sound Energy, and so I'll be managing the community solar product for the foreseeable future. So great to be here and hang with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and so it looks like we've got slides up on your screen. Okay, so I can see it from afar from where I am, but I have the presentation in front of me as well. So I'll just try to make sure that we're synced. So it looks like you guys are also on the What is Community Solar slide. So I'll start and speak to this one.
Excuse me.
This is review for some of you. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Is it possible for somebody to share their screen? I can't read the screen that they're seeing in the community development room.
Okay, I
conference
need to do.
room.
Yeah, Kate, did you hit the share screen at the top of your screen next to the microphone and share screen?
I'm
Thank
here. Yeah, it
you.
sounds like somebody
There
in
we
the room is
go.
sharing their screen.
All right, we got it now.
Anything else?
We're working on this
Perfect.
end.
Thank you so much.
Kate, can you just, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Are you able to share yours?
Absolutely, yeah. All right. How is this?
Good.
That's great.
Try to put this in.
We made
I
it.
put this in. All right. If I put this in presentation mode, is this better?
Great, thank you.
Okay, fabulous. So we will go right to this. What is community solar? So this is, again, review for some of you, but for everybody's benefit, PSE's community solar program is special because it's an opportunity for PSE to partner with public sites in our service territory to bring local renewable energy options to our communities. So through these solar energy projects that we're hosting on public sites, like the one that we're considering on the peaking storage reservoir, this program will allow PSE customers to subscribe to these local solar projects, which allows them to benefit and share in the benefits of solar projects without coming up with those upfront costs that it takes to install a system of their own on their roof. So community solar is different from other voluntary programs that we currently offer, like Green Power and Solar Choice, in that the renewable energy is 100% locally generated. It's in projects that they can see that are in their community in our service territory. So we'll also review the key benefits for site hosts like the city of Bonney Lake. So this is a no-cost solution for solar. So PSE manages the cost, logistics, development, installation, and maintenance of the solar project. So there is no financial investment on behalf of the city. So this helps support the local economy, increases demand for more projects like this, helps meet long-term sustainability goals, whether that's in the jurisdiction or just with the customers in your community. And it's an opportunity for rooftop lease compensation. So as Christine will get into in later slides, we would be able to compensate you all for use of your property to build this solar project. I want to give everyone a really high-level timeline that we're looking at. So obviously this is all subject to public approval, like the one that we're going through right now. So this is tentative. But right now, as it is summer 2021, we're hoping to receive city council approval for the project, which then in the fall would put us into the permitting stage. So we would submit for permits with the city to get a building and electrical permit. And if all goes well, that would then put us in winter to spring 2022 for construction. And then we would look at the project being operational in the spring. So again, this is all subject to public processes, so fairly tentative, but this is a high level of what we're looking at as of right now. So to go a little bit, yeah, sure.
Yeah, so just to circle back from the previous conversations and our site walk, we know that the city has construction going on. I forget the exact name of the new construction you guys are having, but can someone shed light on anticipated, I guess, construction end date for that building that's just on the outside of the water tank? And so we have visibility of where you guys are at on that project.
Sure, Paul, I can help you out with that. This is Ryan. Right now, we're anticipating the project to be completed sometime around the first of the year. That's our new public services center. It's the 4 buildings that are being constructed on that piece of the property right in front of the reservoir. So first of the year.
Okay, great. So yeah, we should, just as we continue down the path, just as, you know, obviously things move or whatever, we'll be with you folks in terms of construction ending for that, your current buildings, and look to start construction on our side right after, just so we're not in conflict with anything that's going on.
Okay, great.
It doesn't look like we'll be ready for you by then anyways, but you know, I think you're working in a different area. I don't see any significant conflicts there.
Great. Thank you. Any other questions on timeline? Right. So I will shoot it over to Christine to dive deeper into the legal documents and compensation.
Yes, thank you, Kate. And as part of this partnership with PSE, of course, there are legal documents and compensation related to having PSE use the rooftop of the peaking and also to interconnect that rooftop lease onto our existing system. So there are 3 documents that we are working with Ryan Johnston and Leslie Harris from your team. The lease agreement, which establishes the terms for PSE's use of the site host rooftop and property for the solar panel installation, and the memorandum of lease, which makes this agreement the basic information available to the public by recording it at the county. The as-built easement will be a perpetual easement that will cover the interconnection facility from the rooftop onto our existing line. The reason for the as-built form is because we have to wait until the final design to be able to provide the easement description, which will replace this form in the end. As basis for our compensation, we have hired Peter Charette from Kidder Matthews to establish fair market value for both the lease and the easement. We have shared that with your staff as basis for the amounts. Next page, please. Next slide. And so in summary, we have the lease terms. We have 15 years with 2 5-year extensions. The rooftop square footage is right there, and the annual rent is $6,570 per year with 3% escalation per year. And then the interconnection easement is approximately 10 feet. And then we have established the value of that at $930 with the transformer easement with an additional $530. So the annual rent will be set up automatically to be sent to the city of Bonney Lake. Yes, so that covers for the compensation and the lease forms. So we have an ongoing coordination on the review of the forms with both Ryan and Leslie. Next slide, please. So I'll hand it over to Wes, but as I've mentioned, there's the rooftop area and the interconnection easement that are covered under our lease forms and our easements. Wes?
Yeah, thanks, Christine. Yeah, so as Christine was talking about, the arrays will be installed on top of the roof of the peaking storage reservoir, and so that's what we are referring to as the lease area. That will include all of the arrays. We will also be setting the inverters and combiners, so kind of the associated equipment on the roof as well. The only thing that will be at ground level mounted on the side of the tank will be a disconnect switch. Kind of different from maybe the last time some folks saw this is we have changed the array spacing on the roof of the tank to preserve walkway width to ensure that the city has continued adequate access for maintenance purposes for the tank. So the latest design that we are presenting to you folks does include that adjustment. Likewise, the moving the inverters and combiners to the roof was a request as well to ensure again that we are maintaining access around the base of the tank and don't obstruct the roadway for maintenance activities. Another adjustment since the last time folks may have seen this is the trenching pathway for us to get the power out has changed a little bit. We have had utility locates done, so this pathway reflects our latest and greatest knowledge of where existing underground utilities are. And allows us to kind of avoid the most significant impacts to what is already out there. But ultimately, the plan would be after we come from the side of the water tank to excavate through an existing paved surface and then come over to a new transformer close to where the power comes into the site already. And it is this trench and the new transformer that will be covered by the easement that Christine discussed. Any questions on the design?
How much are you going to dig up from our new blacktop driveway we're going to put in back there? How long will it just going to put in?
Sure. So The driveway, or I think I've measured the trench length, this one to be close to 180 linear feet. And so it'll be that plus, I forget exactly what width we need to dig for getting electrical conduit in, but whatever is required by code for that.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Cool. Well, next slide, please, Kate. Yeah, and this is just a closer view because I know that other previous one was a little more zoomed out. But again, if folks have any questions at this point, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay.
So just to add on to what Wes had provided, other than where we come down off the side of the tank, the main site design change was, if you maybe Wes or somebody can highlight with their cursor, all of the power conversion electronics, the inverter, combiners, everything was moved to the roof. And you can actually, there you go, just see that there. So much cleaner installation. Everything is on the roof. The only thing that is down the side of the tank is really the emergency shutoff should a fire or something catastrophic happen. And then we have the trench that Wes just provided, that's where we're going to go and connect to just the, I guess it's that south side of the maintenance facility.
A lot cleaner, looks good.
Cool. So Kate, next slide, please. Cool. And so I'm going to hand it over to Paul to kind of discuss what some of the next steps of the construction process may look like in a little more detail.
Yeah, so assuming we have a full approval from a site design perspective, we're planning for permitting 30 to 60 days. Does that sound accurate based upon standard practices and procedures?
For permitting, yeah, that's depends.
3 days.
30 to 60 days, probably closer to the 60-day end of it, but yeah, we can probably get it done in that.
Okay, great. So we'll just plan for the 60, and then we'll update our timelines. The great thing is now that we have our contractor on board who's actually going to be doing the work, it's A&R Solar, we'll work that into the updated schedule based upon other installations we're doing, constraints that we know, and so we'll come back to you with a detailed timeline based upon that input. But so assuming we get permitting approved and everything goes through, we have a pre-construction meeting where we have all of the stakeholders. So obviously the contingent from PSE, so it'll be myself, Wes, Kate, Tyler will probably attend. This will be his probably first one, hopefully. And then A&R Solar, who is responsible for construction, and then Imagine Energy, who was out on the first round, that will be doing the, is responsible for the engineering design. We'll go through end to end of what we plan to do from staging, equipment delivery, trenching, and kind of give you a high-level overview of what we're going to do in what time frames. The construction is 60 to 90 days. The majority of what we'll do from a physical construction standpoint will get done in 60 days, but we have some other groups that we interact in terms of interconnecting. So once construction is done, there's folks at PSE and Patelco that will incorporate in getting the system energized. That's why we go out to the 90 days. But the majority of construction will be done in 60 days. And then commission and testing following on that, 20 to 30. So these are very conservative numbers. As I mentioned before, we'll provide you a more detailed timeline based upon actual dates as we move forward. And then the power outage plan will be provided as part of that. At a minimum, we just plan for 2 power outages. We might be able to get away with 1 based upon conditions, but we're going to plan for 2 as the worst case scenario. And we'll provide that as we go forward as well in terms of the timeline and then eventually when we get to the pre-construction meeting. Wes, I don't know if you'd add anything to that.
No, I think that's about accurate. Right now, because of the new power connection for the new public works facility, it may be possible for any outages we take to avoid actually taking out the new building. but it will most certainly impact the facilities associated with the peaking storage reservoir.
Great. Any questions on the construction?
Yeah.
Just another comment on the permitting. I'd rather under-promise and over-deliver. I have one person who's providing those reviews, and depending upon how many get in front of your submittal, sometimes it can take a little bit longer. This is relatively straightforward, and there's not a whole lot to review. So while I'd say 30 days is probably realistic, let's plan for the 60. And then as we move closer, Jack Niehauser, our superintendent of public works, is in this meeting as well. We'll need to coordinate on those power outages to ensure that our booster station and the operations of the storage reservoir aren't inhibited in any way. So something to discuss further down the road as we start to get closer. Jack, I think, has a question.
Yeah, I do. And something that's going to help us out too is that not only is our construction going to be done for the center, but we're actually going to be moving into the facility, and that's going to be all the public works and even the staff over there at the JMC. So certainly if you have an idea of how you're going to meander through the site during construction, because I'm assuming you're going to be using that main entrance off the roadway there, we'd like to see that too, so we can coordinate to make sure that our staff is safe, we don't get in your way. There's just going to be a lot more coordination that'll need to happen, and I'm sure we'll have more discussions about that as you get closer to actual construction.
Great. Yeah. Thanks for that, Jack. We'll, as part of our roof access plan, any of our staging, and then actually site access, we'll include that. We'll provide some red lines with dates. So yeah, we'll coordinate with you on that.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Yeah, in regards to the outage too, with enough notice, we can be as flexible as needed. So we will work with you folks to identify when is going to be least disruptive, recognizing that there's really never a good time to cut power, but definitely want to be in close contact with y'all on that.
Is there no generator over there, Jack? There shouldn't be any impact whatsoever then if there's a generator. Care less.
I don't think so.
Cool. Thank y'all.
Right, great. So
is it done yet?
In terms of almost. So I guess in terms of next steps, so pending city council approval, as I understand, the next step will be to just sign and execute the lease and easement forms. And then we'll be able to submit permits for the project, as we said, once that site design is approved and finalized. And I know our planning team will also schedule a pre-app so we can make sure that that process is all figured out with the city for permitting. And then after that, we'll be able to schedule an installation timeline. And so as Paul discussed, we'll be able to discuss roof access and all of that at that time with you all.
Yeah.
So are there any additional questions?
When's this going before the council?
So that's what I was going to say. Obviously, the point of bringing this to you here tonight was to get the authorization to move it forward to council. Pending your approval, I would prepare to take it there on August 24th. I've got to, prepare the agenda bill and resolution, but I would imagine that consent agenda issue on August 24th.
Basically, the lease agreement, basically.
That's it.
I'm good. What do you think, Kelly?
I love cotton candy and unicorns and kittens. It's awesome. What's the downside? Have you guys ever talked about the downside? Is there like liability? Does the city need extra insurance? I mean, this can't be a win-win, win-win-win, right?
Yeah, it is solar, Kelly, so I don't know what kind of win that is, but whatever, it's kind of PSE. Kind of box so they can whatever's. Play that game, let them do that. They're happy with that. It's space that we can use, never use. They're staying out of the way of the design, so they still have roof access. It's all non-penetration stuff on the top. And they're going to take it away if it ever comes, whatever it is, 15 years from now. They don't like it. So I've heard none of the staff say, oh, no, we need to do this.
So,
yeah.
Benefit us that we have a power outage up here, as we occasionally do.
It doesn't.
It won't benefit at all.
as long as it doesn't happen.
Now, who subscribes to the energy? Is that the city's going to be subscribing to the energy? So we're going to lower our utility costs, or is it
No,
our residents can subscribe to the
Uh,
energy?
PSE takes the cost of this project, they raise their rates in Washington State, and then allow people to buy solar energy on, like you at your house could subscribe to purchasing this solar energy.
Okay.
Yay.
Kate or Tyler, do you guys want to provide context around that?
I can.
Yeah, so I can add a little bit to that, so that and as we just said, so customers will have the opportunity to subscribe, and so what it would do is it would add to their electric bill, and then they would get credited based off of the production from the project that they subscribe to. But you asked if the city would also be able to subscribe, so we would also offer subscriptions, early access to subscriptions before we open enrollment to all other customers to the city, because you are a site host. So you would be able to also purchase shares and also receive those credits, but that would be completely up to you and totally voluntary. Tyler, anything to add to that?
Yeah, and I just want to add on one more key thing there. It will not be incorporated into any base rates. Like as Kate said at the end there, it is totally voluntary on the residential and commercial customers' part if they want to participate or not. No cost, the program is totally ring fenced, so all the cost, benefits, and all that will just go to the participants only. No increased rates will happen as a result of this program to anyone that is not participating. It's purely for customers that want to participate in the product itself.
Tyler, question for you. If there are no customers that subscribe, then the project is just supplying that power to the grid?
That is exactly correct. Yes, but we do anticipate just as kind of like a base level of hopefully customer excitement, we sent out a couple direct marketing emails to some of the customers that are currently participating in our existing renewables programs, like our Green Power program, our Solar Choice program, and then we also sent out a separate email to customers with what we deemed as a high propensity to participate in the program. And so we've already received about close to 5,000 customers that want to participate in the early interest list, like notify me as soon as the first round of shares go available. And that will be a Kittitas community solar project and a project that's located on Olympia High School. And so right now we've got more people on our interest list than our shares available. So we're hoping we are optimistic about a sellout. I will put it that way. And so we're hoping for the same, any customers that are existing that don't get in immediately, we're hoping that they participate in future projects that come online like the Bonney Lake project.
Okay, so here's what I think I heard. You are going to offer subscriptions so that the customer will wind up paying more for their electricity, but they will have the knowledge that it's green energy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's correct. So they pay a flat monthly rate, and then each month and then it's in the number of shares that they want. So there's a flat rate per share. And then that equates to a set number of kilowatts that's associated with the system. And so their monthly credit will follow the site production that they select. So you participate in the Bonney Lake project on a nice summer day or in a nice summer month like today or July. Let's say your share of the system produces 400 kilowatt hours. You will get 400 kilowatt hours credited on your next month's bill for that specific site's production.
Yeah, and just to echo what Tyler is saying is this program is really catered towards customers that want to go solar and want to do renewables, but they can't, whether they're living in a multi-family or multi-unit dwelling, they can't install on their home because it's not a good site. So it's giving the option to those customers to go green that can't do it by other means.
my last question, I promise. How many of these have you installed before?
Great
That's a great
question.
question. Paul, do you want to? I'm not sure how
Yeah,
much.
no,
Yeah.
no, it's great. So this is our first round of community solar projects, and we went through this process as a part of an application process, and which sites would be most suitable for our first round. And so Bonney Lake is our first of 5 sites that we're installing. Our first one actually broke ground in construction at Olympia High School. I don't know, Wes, no, it's probably about 3 weeks ago, where we're doing all the groundwork and trench work. So we'll be operational with our first one, Olympia High School. Let's call it, be safe, October timeframe. And so what we anticipate following that will be Pine Lake Middle School in Issaquah. And then the third one we're planning for is the Bonney Lake. And then we'll follow on with the other installations after that. So you guys are the first movers, which is great. I think it's going to show a great thing to your guys' community of commitment to renewable and green energy, and you guys will be on the front end of what we're doing. This is, I wouldn't say it's necessarily a pilot because it's just a small program offering for future larger installations that we'll do later down the road.
All good. No negatives to that.
Kelly's happy. He's got some.
I need. Where'd you get that sign? Where'd that come from?
Special. Yeah, those are very handy.
Those are made for us.
Yeah.
You've got a red one too. And the red one also.
I think if you go on eBay, you'll find one or two
What's
or
the
3.
sideways one look like?
I think we're good here.
Yep.
Kate and the rest of the PSE team, thank you for being here this evening.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you all very much. Have a great evening.
So let's see.
Me? Right, yeah. 2B1 bids came in. Beta Brothers is the bidder. They outbid WS Construction, which is the hoping to get maybe for both projects, but we did
Oh, how far? I didn't look.
100,000.
Oh, really? So somebody's getting fired.
No, I think, and this happens a lot of times. Usually, the contractor leaves a little bit on the table. Back says that pencil isn't quite as sharp as the other. So we are where we are. So anyway, so we got Pavetta Brothers in. They the 2B1 engineer's estimate was around 900,000 and change, and they came in at 1.1 million for the trail. So they're a little over engineer's estimate, but within our budget. And the trails project went from 800,000 because we took some of those bid items and kind of melded them into the bigger overall project. Went down to 428,000, almost 429. Contingency, we still have about 115,000 left in the Sound Transit grant proposal. Instead of being in the red, we're still in the black. So we'll be using that money for construction management. And 2B1 will have, it's a little bit over budget, but still within the budget we've had for that project for this year. I think basically a little bit of sleight of hand, some of the money slid over, but we won't be seeing anything in the red. We're going to get some benefit too on construction management services for both projects together.
Yeah, that's good.
We'll bring that together. We'll bring that to you next go around. Their services to use up that $115,000. So we
Good deal.
okay. Anyway, combining them was seems to be the
Nice.
good idea.
Always a good idea, right? Yeah, they're going to be right there. So doing the construction.
Oh, good.
Tom's good. Mr. Kelly?
I'm coming.
Hunting for Parks trail thingy-majigger there.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry,
I'm good. I thought this was good work. The only real question I had was, um, um, you know, it seemed to me like the bids came in high for the other project. We turn around and we add it to this project and we get a bid really quick. My head is spinning with how that worked. So, did we expect that, or are the same contractors bidding both, or?
Both the stairs and the trail project together, yeah.
Yeah, well, were the ones we rejected, did the contractors who we rejected, did they bid on this as well?
They may be one of the subcontractors, or probably a subcontractor in the deal. What we did do, Kelly, was we took like mobilization, some of the bigger ticket items in the stairs project, and offset that with, we combined those with the 2B1 contract.
Mm-hmm.
So it was deferred over two projects instead of just one. So we saved money on the trail, on the stairs, brought that back into line for the budget that we had available. So there was a little bit of shifting of money overall in the projects, and the two projects combined. So that's how we got a little bit of synergy going there.
Okay.
Sounds good. I don't know, Kelly, if you got any concerns with moving this forward or not.
No.
Alrighty.
Consent?
Give it a try, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we like bundle in a roundabout and take this out, reject this, and then bundle the roundabout in and?
A good try. Yeah, we'll
Yeah,
see
it's
how
gonna be an
that
interesting
goes.
conversation tonight.
Yeah. So this one's okay.
Yeah.
You're good. No mistakes, Debbie. Thank you.
Yeah. Really good.
Great job.
Open discussion scenario.
Well, it seems like there's so many bids coming in over estimates. Is that going to continue? You've seen that? Still have a concern that we're going to keep having some challenges as the year progresses?
I mean, that's a good question you're bringing up, and we have noticed recently with economy going strong that our bid prices are going past what we engineering. A lot of our engineering estimates, sometimes would go back when you're looking at like some of our 20-year projects. They're going back several years, so it's hard to kind of keep up with those. But when we get an engineer's estimate for most of our projects, we're kind of dialing it in as best we can with other projects that have come out very recently, right? So this engineer's estimate was like $900,000, but I think when we started melding some of those and grubbing, that kind of thing, I think that kind of escalated a little bit. You're also, anytime you bid a project in this time of year, springtime, summertime, fall, those prices are up because most of the hungry contractors, they're already got their billet filled for the year. You're getting less competition. Even though 11 people were on the bidders checklist, only 2 people turned in bids. So if this was February, probably have 11, something like that. So you'd have a little bit more competition. So that's also works against you. We want all of our projects out early, usually permitting, that kind of thing, that kind of slows down some of that process as you kind of go through all those checks and try to get everybody's signatures and stuff, can kind of push projects out a little bit. But it's just the process. There's a lot of moving parts.
So then I have a question for Sherry. We already have a number of budget amendments. Are you concerned that this continues a trend, be a problem for us, Sherry, to be thinking about?
Hi. So I sent you the last quarter's report, and at this point, I'm not concerned about any of the funds going over. If they continue to go over on projects, then they're just going to have to reduce the amount of projects, right?
Okay.
But at this point, I don't see an issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All I got.
Do you have any open items there, Kelly, that you were thinking about, this open discussion type stuff?
Yeah, but I still have some homework to do to get ready to talk about them. So.
Okay, that's fine. So a couple items I had there, and I was wondering because we were just talking about the PSC thing and stuff like that. So if most of that's just a backlog and like getting to it to actually do the permit review kind of thing. That one's got to be like almost a no-brainer.
Should be really quick. Should be
like,
easy.
Okay, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
So there's an example. I don't know what type of inspections or reviews are required for that particular activity, but you know, if we had the ability to those outsource people that we were able to, and it's kind of like, hey, we'll just like ship this over to Bob's house and let him like put his or her stamp on it, right?
Yeah.
That way we could offload that, and because a project like this is, you know, providing no value until it gets done.
Yeah, I think one of the big problems we run into with permitting is that it takes for us, even though you will hear complaints about that.
Oh yeah.
But it's also that many times what we're getting from the initially, and then when we ask for more information and we get those resubmittals, sometimes we get trash.
Right.
You know, so that takes extra time while Totally or one of the building reviewers goes back and forth with their engineer. Certainly, though, your concern is noted, and I think at times in the past we have actually sent reviews out.
Oh yeah, we have.
Yeah, I mean, usually the first in, first out mentality. So we're going through. It depends on what his load is. What we can do is when we get to that time, we can look at his load and see what that timeline is, and can we meet the timeline? Outside that, then we can do something which you're talking about.
Yeah. It's just sometimes, you know, the specialty stuff is like, you know, why are we even? It's so weird, you know, solar installation on a roof. How many of those have we seen?
Right.
You know, it's kind of like, really, you know, send this to somebody and let them knock it out, and we're doing all this. We know so well that we.
Yeah, and on that, you're exactly right. On that project, the review should be somewhat, not the construction of a brand new building or anything like that. I imagine this. Would there even be a?
Because they got the transformer thing.
I don't know.
It'd be fairly minimal. Hopefully, we can get them through.
Yeah, it's just, you know, one of those.
If they're not doing any civil work, right?
Yeah.
So,
you guys will figure it out.
Yep.
You guys are good at all that stuff. And I pester you again about my favorite poles sitting out there. Of course, questioned that one that's, you know, at Allen York there at the intersection by the boat launch, because there's that one telephone pole that's on the, you know, the new construction side.
Yeah.
Right?
Landing.
You know? So hopefully that's going to go underground somehow. It's a pain in the butt there, but that's kind of like, I don't know how they had to rebuild all the sidewalks and they got away with not undergrounding that pole.
They got their contract. I mean, their project before. It went down before. I mean, it was in the. I think my guess is that it was in the queue before Dan brought that undergrounding to us, right? And that was approved. So they were grandfathered in. Then the economy dropped. They lost everything, right? And it stayed. And they were granted that 10-year window where they didn't have to go through reapprovals. So they were able to kind of skirt that stuff and stay under the radar. And then when they came back, you know, they were able to get that project going again without having to go back to the very. If they had to go all the way back to the very beginning, undergrounding would have been required.
So then in the sidewalks, they were required
sidewalks
before.
Were bad
because
of ADA.
Yeah, but previous to the you know.
Yeah, some of the panels were outside of the 2%.
Well, yeah, okay. So, you know, just be aware. It's irritating.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for it too, because it prevents, believe it or not, some people from.
Because of that pole.
Because the overhead thing that they can't actually. There's no way they have to actually put their sailboat kind of together off-site and drive it down there, so that you can't get in there and then do your thing. You know, I know it's a kind of a complicated area because of the way you have to go across and undergrounding it, but you know, here
you don't do it now and never get done.
No, you know, they don't have the ability to do something that's not in their permit, which.
But it doesn't mean you can't put a part of a park plan.
Yeah, right. And that kind of, and then, you know, there's a lot of other lands. And there's also one that's probably going to get captured by the Love pulling out of off to your left sidewalk, there's a pole in the freaking sidewalk. Service pole that's been there for a billion. But it's not used.
Hey, Dan.
Dan, you're
We
cutting.
can't hear you.
You're cutting
We
out.
can't hear you when your voice isn't towards the owl.
Hands?
Talk to the owl.
But anyways, so that telephone poles, if that was one, I don't know, it'd be nice to know if
That in the frontage of
it's
the,
in the sidewalk,
understood.
physically.
But if it's in the frontage of the Wazoo property.
No. In
No,
safe
this
ways,
is north
it's
of
to the
there.
north. It's to the north of the driveway leading.
Into that one a little.
But that one seems to be kind of like one of those deals where it's kind of like, really, they're not using the service anymore. You just get rid of the service and you hack it off. But maybe it's also like, well, we're going to be redoing that non-roundabout thing here shortly.
It's outside of the limits of the
Exactly right. And then of course, while I'm undergrounding, I'm gonna, Bonney Lake Elementary, or what is that? No, Emerald Hills over by me, right? They kind of got. It'd be nice to know where they're at on that. Sorry, guys, keep moving away. Because they're setting up for that underground, and they've been doing it forever. I don't know. I thought they were gonna do it after school or something like that.
Yeah.
Because that one, they were gonna underground all the facilities. That was definitely in their permit to underground those frontage utilities.
Correct. And the undergrounding was on west half of Foresters because the other, on the south half, well, I guess the west half really kind of turns there, right? The old west half. So the one that goes in front of your house, I think the utilities on your side, but the poles on your side of the road, right?
No, I don't know.
It wasn't on their side. I think it's on your side of the road.
I think so.
They cross it,
something
right?
like
So
that.
they don't underground those because they're on the other side of the road.
No. Yeah, you guys will have to go out there and take a look, or whatever. Somebody would give me an update on that. Basically, they're the utilities that are on school frontage for that project. And I know they got looks like the major power stuff, and they've done a bunch of boring and all this kind
I
of
see.
stuff.
But the Comcast and CenturyLink aren't underground. Is that what you're saying?
Possibly, yeah.
Next CDC.
Minus on that thing.
Yeah.
So, and
You've been thinking, weren't you?
Yeah, sorry, whatever. We have the American Recovery Act or whatever it is, those monies, right? And I think Ryan was talking about one of the good projects was something to deal with.
Speak up.
Oh,
What project? I didn't hear it.
the pothole dam. Where we had the flooding some years ago. That was prior to my time here.
No. The out there for sewer projects.
Oh, you're talking about the
out there by
Mountain
the
Force Main.
There you go. Yeah. That one. So you possibly had some kind of connection. Or some kind of a scenario that you could see that you would be able to do
that?
something, or yeah, I guess.
So what has been the idea all along is that where it currently goes, which is up and around and up to lift station 20, to doing just a short run over to the ground lift station.
Yeah.
And that remains the preferred route that we would take for it.
So
and it is a project that I put on my list to John.
Yeah.
Jack and I sat down and talked about projects, and that was one of them.
Good. So you guys got that kind of thing going. Do we know? I know you probably can't say when we're going to see that type of a thing.
When we're going to see
the list or whatever, this mysterious. The government gave us all. Right.
I don't know when you would.
John and I will be having a discussion tomorrow about it, but there's a lot of rules that they still haven't updated the guidance on that I'm still waiting for. So it's probably at least another month, 2 months away before something's presented to the council.
Well, yeah. See, and of course, staff and Sherry and whoever, I'm of course highly concerned that the council hasn't had very much input on this process, right? Because to me, the feds gave the cities monies to spend, and right now I see the situation is that the administration is doing what they're supposed to do and come up with some of the stuff, but they're kind of coming up with it, and where's the legislative input to that particular process, right? like I said before.
The mayor has asked us to bring the project list to the council as soon as we have a chance to compile it, which it sounds like Ryan has given some of that to John. I know some other department heads have as well. And then I'm going to be reviewing those to see whether or not they work within the funding. And unfortunately, people had until July 16th, I believe it was, or maybe it was the 19th, to submit questions to Treasury. So they still don't have the final rules out on exactly how the money can be spent completely.
Yeah, no, that's all good. But, you know, just in that process you outlined, it's kind of like we forgot to say council or city council somewhere, right? Because
No, it goes to the council after we've done the city process. You will see it at council, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree 100%. But I also see, you know, if you had council members like me and you guys bring the list to me at the city council that I haven't had input on, the first thing I do is I take the list and I throw it in the shredder, and then we start a new conversation, right? Because, you know, we didn't at the city council level have input on this particular quote unquote list, right? So
I think then you would need to probably talk to the mayor. We're following his direction.
I agree 100%. I agree. I know you guys are doing a great job. That's why I'm so confident with what staff is putting forward. Is probably pretty well aligned with what, you know, the legislature's thinking about. But I can't, you know, guarantee that ever, right? You know, I hate to see the staff do a bunch of work and then the city council looks at it and says, well, this is not what we wanted, right? You know, the mayor hasn't asked that I'm aware of the council to come up with a bunch of, you know, list priorities and things. There's a bunch of good ideas floating around out there that have percolated up, but, you know, I haven't seen a lot of that from the council's perspective, right? You know, kind of individuals. Go ahead, Tom.
And also, since the council is concerned that we're getting things last minute, just like the roundabout is a big conversation. All of a sudden now the grant's due and be done within whatever date now, and why they didn't hear more about this sooner if they could take this apart and talk about the roundabout and other things. We're soon getting a lot of things at the last minute, and we need to make a decision and do it now. And it's due next week, and that's their concern to run into. Well, so that's what I'm hearing other council members coming back to me.
And I think it's important to make a difference grant application and how long this project has actually been around, because it's been discussed as a roundabout now for several years.
I know that.
So,
but the rest of I'm well aware. It's been, I saw it when John first started talking about it. So, but they're concerned that they're all of a sudden now they have to make a decision, and they just heard about it last week, and now they got to decide what to do about it. And there's a lot of questions. Not only that, but like what Dan's talking about, or the money that we have that we got from the government, the council has some input at some point that maybe Neil wants these things done, but we may want something else done instead. So here's some opportunities for us to all discuss, bring to the table. Then he can make the final decision, bring it back to us. That's what we're being left out of, we feel.
Yeah, it's just hard when we're having all the virtual meetings, right? It's like more disconnected. Right. It's kind of a harder environment to work in. We're just so lucky that we have so many good staff members that are able to kind of figure things out with the absence of
they're all awesome.
So it's like, yay.
We can certainly pass your thoughts along.
Oh yeah, I'm sure Neil's probably aware, but you know, I don't represent all the council members' feelings. I just, you know, can feel that left out a little bit out there. So, anyways, what I had, and I think we're going to be down there. You going to be down there, Kelly? You're going to go downstairs with us too? We're going to carry you down there?
Am I taking a ride on the owl? Woo!
We're going to put, we'll have to.
See you downstairs, Kelly.
First we'll do this.
Hey, wait, Sherry's going with me. I don't know if Jack's coming, but I'm pretty sure Sherry's coming with me.
I am.
Right.
Thank you, guys.
Riding the owl sounds like it's out of Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly. or Narnia.